as we've touched on already, your McKinsey Health Institute research, really highlighted, toxic workplaces is one of the biggest predictors of employee burnout. And whether we mean toxic environments, whether that be in our work or our personal lives, can certainly hinder our self-confidence as individuals. With all that and anxiety comes with a lack of confidence. I presume this could eventually lead to burnout as well. Your book, Authentic Confidence, touches on this. Tell us more. What is authentic confidence, and why is it so important in the workplace?
Yeah, what is authentic confidence? Well, this started with my own journey, David, a couple of years ago when I actually got into a confidence crisis. Until then, I had no idea what this was about. So I was I had anxiety, low-grade anxiety my whole life, but it became such that it got in the way of me reaching my potential, basically. It was hindering me, and that annoyed me, but also was hugely painful. I've spoken about that in a TED Talk, and that was the moment when I started to study the topic of anxiety, way before the pandemic hit the world, and also way before we actually were talking about these topics so freely. But that personal confidence crisis led me to study the topic and the neuroscience of anxiety and confidence and well-being, and which brought me on a wonderful journey. And that actually has led me to understand that this is not a soft topic. It's biology, it's science, and that brought me onto this mission of translating these topics in a scientific way and in a way such that it can be easier accepted also in the boardroom and in organizational settings, because it's usually important. I also learned already before the pandemic that many people were struggling with this topic. 1 out of 2 in our exploratory study, people indicated that they thought they could perform better at work if they were less worried about making mistakes, just as an example. People also indicated to worry a couple of hours a day, and that takes energy away. It's normal, by the way, to feel stressed every now and then. It's absolutely fine, and stress is a good thing because it also is needed to learn new things. But it can also, if not managed well, it can lead to burnout. It can lead to lower productivity, and there's a lot that's related to it. And so when I started to study this, I also was working on my own challenge with anxiety, and this book was very healing for me also to do. But what I learned was, listen, I want to bring science to this topic. I also want to bring a tactical toolkit. Because I read a lot, I was very much inspired by what I read, but then I never knew what to do. What is this about? What are the tactical things that I can do? And there are a lot of tactical things that you can do. There are 32 tools in our book. But also this was all brought together in the context of, I understood it was not only me, but also we thought, with there were more reports coming out, also a study by McKinsey, that by 2030, a large part of the jobs will no longer exist that are here today, and lots of jobs will transform, etc. Now, little did we know that then there was a pandemic, and then there was another disruption, and it continues going, and we're actually getting into an acceleration of change. So this is highly relevant. But what happens is that people in unpredictable environments, you can start losing confidence but especially in toxic environments as well, as you mentioned. If people don't feel safe at work, if they don't feel included, and if they feel like they can't make mistakes, if they go out of their comfort zone, then there is this potential danger that you lose confidence, and this eats away a lot of energy. But more importantly, we found in our research that people don't speak up. They keep under the radar and they don't give feedback, and so you lose a lot of the talent. You have people there in your business that are not participating such as you want, and so there is also a business case from that angle. And what authentic confidence is really about, really clarifying for yourself what matters to you and continuing to move forward towards that. That sounds a bit abstract, but basically, David, to explain it in a bit of a practical way, what matters to me is talk about these topics and create awareness around mental health and well-being, but also lack of confidence and challenges that people may face, because whatever challenge they've had in the past, or maybe neural diversity they bring to work. And I want to talk about that. And in order to do that, and I want to have impact in the world. In order to do that, I love talking to people like you, to come to this wonderful podcast, but also to be on stage. Sometimes I find that actually a bit scary as well, because I don't want to make mistakes. I want to say the right things, and I don't always say the right things, and then I cannot correct that. However, it's important to me, and so I am very clear about the why, and I know that if I have the skills to manage with the stress that come with doing this particular session, for example, and it also is fuel to do this. And so that gives courage. If you know what to do and how to handle stress along the way, that is authentic confidence. It does not mean, you should never feel a lack of confidence or anxiety. It's actually about becoming comfortable with discomfort and being okay also not always to have the answer, which I am much better with these days. But I have my moments, and there are many of us. And so it's an important skill to learn given the context that we're in these days.
In this series, we will be speaking to a range of senior leaders who are pushing a data-driven and digital HR agenda. Make sure that you subscribe via your podcast app of choice, and also via our YouTube channel for free and regular interviews with the digital HR leaders of the future.